Japan has always presented itself as the land of order, discipline, and spotless perfection, where every celebrity smiles flawlessly in public and keeps their private life buried behind layers of silence. But in 2025, that image cracked wide open. For the first time in years, the country's entertainment industry found itself overwhelmed by a chain of scandals so unexpected, so chaotic, and so deeply revealing that the carefully constructed facade of purity could no longer hold. It began quietly, with whispers on late-night forums about actors behaving strangely and models fighting for power behind the scenes. Then, as winter ended, the leaks started. Footage from backstage dressing rooms, anonymous testimonies from exhausted idol trainees, financial records that didn't add up, and text messages that exposed the kind of hostility no one believed existed in an industry famous for politeness. By summer, Japan's biggest stars were scrambling to apologize. Agencies were holding emergency press conferences, and fans were divided between defending their favorites and demanding the truth. Each scandal grew larger than the one before it, connecting into something much bigger than isolated mistakes. It was no longer about a single celebrity falling from grace. It was about a system that had quietly trapped them all. And tonight, we pull back the curtain on everything they tried to hide. Here are Japan's 10 biggest celebrity scandals of 2025, counting down from the ones that shook the industry to the #1 shock that rattled the entire country. At number 10 is the scandal that set the tone for Japan's turbulent year, the sudden collapse of actress Aoi Yamada's carefully polished image after a younger co-star accused her of bullying behind the scenes. Aoi had spent the past 2 years rising at extraordinary speed, promoted as the new face of Japan's next generation of talent, appearing in dramas, commercials, and magazine covers with an innocence that audiences adored. But everything changed when an anonymous staff member leaked a voice note from the set of her latest drama, claiming she belittled newcomers, ignored direction she didn't like, and created an atmosphere so tense that filming had to stop multiple times. At first, fans dismissed it as jealousy, but then a supporting actress stepped forward and described moments where Aoi allegedly mocked her acting and pressured staff to cut her scenes. The accusations spread across social media in hours, fueling a national debate about on-set power abuse and whether young celebrities were being elevated too quickly without the maturity to handle it. Aoi's agency issued a vague denial that convinced no one, and attempts to silence the story only made it grow bigger. By the end of the week, endorsements quietly froze, TV stations reconsidered her appearance schedules, and viewers who once loved her began asking the same uncomfortable question: what really happens behind Japan's perfectly staged drama productions? And as Aoi struggled to repair her reputation, a far bigger scandal was already forming, one that would push the industry even deeper into chaos. At number 9 is the controversy that sent shockwaves through Japan's music scene. The accusation that singer-songwriter Aimyon's 2025 comeback track borrowed too heavily from an obscure indie song released nearly a decade earlier. It started with a quiet blog post from a small music critic who uploaded side-by-side audio comparisons, pointing out similarities in the melody progression and chorus structure. Within hours, the post went viral, and what might have been dismissed as coincidence suddenly ignited a firestorm of debate across X, YouTube, and music forums. Fans rushed to defend her, arguing that chord progressions in J-pop often overlap naturally, while critics insisted the resemblance was too strong to ignore. Producers, composers, and even university music professors began weighing in, dissecting the song note by note like a forensic investigation. Aimyon stayed silent at first, hoping the controversy would die down, but the silence only fueled the narrative that something was being hidden. Her agency eventually released a short statement insisting the song was original and denying any wrongdoing. Yet it failed to stop the growing suspicion. Radio stations briefly hesitated to play the track. Streaming numbers stalled, and sponsors paused promotional plans while waiting for the storm to settle. The scandal didn't destroy her career, but it created a permanent fracture in her public perception. The once untouchable storyteller of Japanese music now faced distrust from a portion of her own audience. And just as the country began arguing about artistic originality, a darker, more personal scandal emerged from one of Japan's most secretive entertainment empires. At number 8 is the scandal that reopened wounds Japan had hoped were already healing. A former Johnny's member, whose leaked private messages revealed an undercurrent of hostility, resentment, and internal rivalry inside one of the country's most iconic talent ecosystems. The messages surfaced quietly at first, posted anonymously on a forum known for exposing industry secrets, but they spread like wildfire once fans recognized the writing style and context. In the screenshots, the unnamed former idol appeared to insult fellow group members, mock younger trainees, and accuse senior managers of favoritism and manipulation, painting a picture far different from the polished unity that agencies have spent decades presenting to the public. What shocked people even more was the bitterness embedded in every sentence. Anger about grueling schedules, jealousy over who received more camera time, and frustration over the unwritten rules that controlled their personal lives. Although the agency never confirmed the identity behind the messages, insiders quietly admitted the tone and phrasing matched someone who had recently left the organization under vague circumstances. Fans who grew up believing in the brotherhood of Japan's male idol groups suddenly found themselves questioning everything. Were these messages an isolated outburst or a symptom of something much deeper? Did the pressures of fame erode the bonds that fans thought were genuine? And if this was what one member was willing to say in private, what were the others still hiding? As the debate intensified, Japan soon found itself staring at another scandal, this time involving a beloved actor whose public composure would crumble in a way no one saw coming. At number 7 is the scandal that forced Japan to confront something it rarely acknowledges: the emotional toll hidden beneath its perfectly produced drama sets. When a behind-the-scenes clip showing actor Ryoma Takuchi arguing heatedly with a staff member leaked online, the public reacted with disbelief. Ryoma had long been seen as the industry's calm, dependable golden boy, the kind of actor who never raised his voice, never complained, and never stepped out of line. But the leaked video told a different story. In the grainy footage, he appeared frustrated, exhausted, and overwhelmed, snapping back at a staffer who insisted on retaking a scene for the 5th time. What seemed like a moment of stress quickly spiraled into national controversy, as viewers questioned whether this was an isolated outburst or evidence of unspoken tension within the production. Some accused him of arrogance, arguing that no professional should speak to crew members that way, while others defended him, pointing to the punishing work schedules Japanese actors are pushed through, shooting late into the night, memorizing constant script changes, and promoting multiple projects at once. Former crew members from unrelated productions added fuel to the fire by anonymously describing the growing pressure placed on actors as budgets shrink and demand skyrockets. Ryoma apologized publicly, saying he regretted losing his composure, but the apology didn't stop brands from quietly freezing endorsement deals. The clip reopened a national conversation about long hours, toxic perfectionism, and the mental strain actors face in an industry obsessed with image control. And while the scandal shook Ryoma personally, Japan's next controversy would strike at someone who had never experienced backlash before: its most admired and unshakable YouTube superstar. At number 6 is the scandal that stunned Japan, precisely because everyone believed it could never happen. Hikakin, the country's most trusted YouTuber, suddenly found himself accused of hiding a paid promotion in one of his videos. For over a decade, Hikakin built a reputation as the wholesome face of Japanese online entertainment. A creator who played by the rules, treated his audience respectfully, and never entangled himself in controversy. That spotless reputation made the 2025 transparency crisis even more explosive. It began when sharp-eyed viewers noticed product placement that seemed too polished, too perfectly framed, yet was never disclosed as sponsored content. A marketing insider then posted anonymously that the segment was part of a paid deal worth millions of yen, but Heikaken had allegedly chosen not to market as an advertisement. The claim triggered a national uproar, with the hashtag Heikaken, explained 2025 trending within hours and thousands of fans demanding answers. The pressure became so intense that Heikaken released a 12-minute apology video, insisting the omission was accidental and promising stricter transparency moving forward. But the damage was done. Comment sections filled with disappointment. PR experts questioned his management's oversight, and advertisers hesitated to renew partnerships until the scandal settled. For the first time, the country's most beloved creator faced cracks in his invincible image, proving that even the safest figures could be swept into the chaos of 2025. And as Japan argued over honesty in the digital age, the entertainment world braced for yet another storm, this time involving a high-fashion star whose scandal raised uncomfortable questions about privilege and power in an industry that pretends everyone is equal. At number 5 is the scandal that peeled back the glamorous surface of Japan's fashion world and revealed a hierarchy far harsher than anyone imagined. Actress and model Nana Komatsu, long celebrated for her elegance and quiet charisma, suddenly found herself at the center of a controversy when several younger models accused her team of manipulating runway lineups and photoshoot arrangements to secure her the most desirable positions. The allegations surfaced after a high-profile fashion event in early 2025, where insiders claimed Nana's agency pressured designers to place her at the front of group shots and grant her longer solo camera time, pushing less established models into the background. While favoritism has always lingered in whispers across the fashion industry, this was the first time such accusations were directed at someone with Nana's reputation, a star admired for humility and kindness. As the story spread through fashion circles and media outlets, anonymous stylists and assistants began sharing their own experiences, describing an environment where unspoken power dictated who received opportunities and who remained invisible. The public reaction was intense. Some defended Nana, arguing she might not have known about the behind-the-scenes maneuvering, while others insisted the imbalance reflected a larger issue of privilege disguised as merit. Brands associated with the event quietly removed promotional images, fueling speculation that more had occurred than they wanted to admit. The scandal didn't just challenge Nana's image, it shattered the illusion that Japan's fashion industry was a place of equal opportunity. And as the fashion world struggled to contain the fallout, Japan's next scandal would strike even deeper, pulling a beloved actor into a legal battle that shook families, agencies, and fans alike. At number 4 is the scandal that blindsided an entire generation of Japanese viewers. The unexpected legal battle between actor Hiroshi Tamaki and his former wife. A conflict that exposed cracks beneath a marriage everyone thought had ended quietly. For years, Tamaki was admired as one of Japan's most composed and private stars, a man who kept his personal life completely separate from his career and rarely appeared in tabloids. That image collapsed in April 2025 when his ex-wife filed a financial lawsuit accusing him of withholding assets and failing to honor parts of their divorce agreement. The news struck like a lightning bolt because it seemed so violently out of character for a man known for stability and restraint. Suddenly, Japanese media, normally cautious around Tamaki, began digging into the timeline of their split, analyzing old interviews, revisiting his public appearances, and speculating whether hidden tension had been present all along. The lawsuit's details were confidential, but the implications were loud. Accusations of financial dishonesty, miscommunication, and emotional strain. Reporters camped outside his agency, legal commentators debated the potential outcomes, and fans found themselves torn between defending a man they had trusted for decades and questioning whether the polished image they admired was ever real. Tamaki released a carefully worded statement claiming the matter was a misunderstanding, yet the ambiguity only deepened public suspicion. Endorsement deals paused, television producers held emergency meetings, and one prominent morning show even dedicated an entire segment to discussing how celebrity divorces in Japan are often sanitized to protect brand value. The scandal didn't just threaten Tamaki's career, it damaged a cultural symbol of maturity and reliability at a time when audiences were already fatigued by scandal after scandal. And while the case dragged on, Japan shifted its attention to a far younger star, whose personal life would become the center of the year's most heated debate about privacy, purity, and the impossible expectations placed on female celebrities. At number 3 is the scandal that ignited the most emotionally charged debate of 2025. Hirose Suzu's unexpected dating revelation and the wave of outrage that followed when her agency was accused of forcing her to maintain an unrealistic, pure public image. Suzu had spent nearly a decade as one of Japan's most beloved actresses, known for her transparency, warmth, and approachable charm. Fans saw her as the rare celebrity who remained grounded despite her enormous fame. But that narrative unraveled almost overnight when paparazzi photos surfaced showing her quietly meeting a national athlete preparing for the upcoming Olympic cycle. What might have been a harmless romance in most countries instantly erupted into a cultural flashpoint. Within hours of the leak, online discussions shifted from curiosity to anger as fans questioned why her agency had imposed strict behavioral guidelines that restricted normal aspects of her personal life. Former trainees and staff anonymously claimed that the agency enforced rigid image purity standards on female celebrities, rules that dictated who they could date, how they should speak, and even what emotional expressions were acceptable during public events. Suzu found herself trapped between conflicting forces: supporters who insisted she deserved privacy, critics who argued she had betrayed public expectations, and industry insiders who hinted her relationship could jeopardize brand partnerships worth millions. The backlash grew so intense that sponsors temporarily paused advertisements featuring her, prompting the agency to issue a carefully crafted statement, focusing more on managing misunderstandings than acknowledging Suzu's autonomy. The incident exposed a deeper societal issue: Japan's long-standing fixation on perfection, innocence, and feminine modesty, an expectation Suzu never asked to bear. And as the public argued over whether she should apologize, stand firm, or remain silent, an even larger bombshell dropped, one that involved a national superstar whose scandal shook not just the entertainment world, but the entire country's sense of trust. At number 2 is the scandal that stunned Japan, not because of its sensational nature, but because it targeted someone the public believed was genuinely untouchable. Kento Yamazaki, the actor widely regarded as the nation's perfect leading man. For years, he embodied everything the entertainment industry wanted: clean, reliable, scandal-free, the kind of star who could anchor blockbuster dramas, represent major brands, and maintain a spotless public persona without ever seeming manufactured. That illusion began to fracture in early 2025 when the magazine Friday published a detailed report suggesting that certain portions of his overseas earnings had not been properly declared. The article didn't accuse him of criminal behavior, but it outlined enough inconsistencies to trigger immediate public anxiety. Japan, a society that places high value on honesty and social responsibility, reacted with shock at the possibility that one of its most trusted celebrities might have blurred the lines of financial transparency. Within days, online forums erupted with debates. Some argued the actor must have been unaware of the tax handling, blaming his management, while others pointed out that such oversights rarely happen by accident. Analysts appeared on morning news shows, breaking down how celebrity tax disputes work, and financial commentators examined past interviews for hints about his international projects. The uncertainty alone was enough to shake the industry. Major sponsors paused upcoming campaigns. Production companies quietly adjusted drama schedules, and international distributors asked for clarification to protect their own reputations. Kento released a short public statement denying intentional wrongdoing and promising full cooperation, but the cautious tone of his agency fueled more suspicion than reassurance. Even after authorities confirmed no criminal charges were being pursued, the damage had already seeped into public consciousness. The Golden Boy had cracks, and the sense of betrayal lingered. Fans didn't turn against him completely, but they no longer saw him as flawless. And in Japan's tightly controlled entertainment world, even a small doubt can echo for years. And while Kento struggled to regain public trust, Japan's biggest scandal of the year was about to erupt, one that didn't just involve a celebrity, but an entire system collapsing under its own hidden weight. At number 1 is not a single celebrity scandal, but the seismic event that revealed the darkest truth of Japan's entertainment industry: the 2025 agency contract collapse. A scandal so massive that it shook the country far more violently than any individual wrongdoing ever could. It began with one young actress, anonymous at first, leaking a portion of her contract online. The document showed she had been bound to her agency until 2035, under conditions that restricted everything from her romantic life to her social media access. Many assumed it was either an exaggeration or an isolated mistake, until 2 more actresses stepped forward within the same month, each revealing nearly identical clauses that painted a disturbing picture of systemic control. These contracts were not simply strict. They were suffocating, dictating what emotions could be shown in public, which colleagues they were allowed to socialize with, and how their incomes would be divided, even if their careers declined. The leaks triggered a nationwide uproar. Former staff members anonymously confirmed the existence of image scripts, guidelines that forced celebrities to maintain personalities chosen by executives rather than their own. Whisper networks in the industry suddenly became public record, agencies allegedly threatening to blacklist artists who refused extra work, manipulating fan club funds for internal use, and using non-disclosure agreements to silence anyone who attempted to speak out. A wave of whistleblowers followed: assistants, ex-trainees, even mid-level managers, each adding more fuel to the fire. Television networks scrambled to distance themselves from implicated agencies. Advertisers pulled campaigns overnight. Politicians joined the debate as the public demanded legal reform, calling the contracts outdated, exploitative, and incompatible with modern labor standards. The Ministry of Health, Labor, and Welfare was forced to address the issue publicly, marking the first time in decades that Japan's government acknowledged systemic abuse in the entertainment sector. But perhaps the most shocking revelation was how normalized these practices had become. Many celebrities admitted off-record that they had signed similar agreements, believing they had no choice if they wanted to survive in an industry dominated by a few powerful corporations. The scandal didn't just take down executives or damage corporate reputations. It shattered the foundational myth that Japan's entertainment world was built on discipline, purity, and mutual respect. The truth was far less elegant. Beneath the spotlight was a machinery of control that had finally collapsed under the weight of its own secrets. And as Japan watched the system unravel, one thing became clear. The biggest scandal of 2025 was never about a single star, but about the structure that had been controlling them all along. Looking back at 2025, it becomes clear that Japan didn't just experience a year of celebrity scandals. It lived through a collective unmasking. Each controversy, from a young actress accused of bullying to the revelation of suffocating agency contracts, peeled away another layer of an industry long praised for its discipline and restraint. What once looked flawless now appeared fragile. What once felt controlled now seemed ready to collapse under its own contradictions. These 10 scandals were not random bursts of chaos. They were signals of a deeper shift in Japan's entertainment world, a quiet rebellion against silence, pressure, and decades of manufactured perfection. Fans who once saw their favorite stars as distant icons now recognize them as people caught inside a system that demanded more than it ever gave back. And even as public attention moves on, the consequences will echo for years. Agencies tightening their policies, lawmakers reconsidering outdated standards, celebrities speaking more cautiously, and audiences questioning everything they consume. Japan's entertainment industry will rebuild, because it always does, but it will never return to the untouched ideal it once projected. Once you see the machinery behind the curtain, you can't pretend it isn't there. The only question now is what 2026 will reveal, and whether the truth that emerges next will be even darker than what we uncovered this year. Tell me, out of all 10 scandals, which one shocked you the most?